Hi, everyone.
Hi, can you hear?
Hello.
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Hello.
Hey, Silas. I was really interested that you became Silas McShane in the notes. Did you notice that? I
I did
thought,
not.
oh, that works actually. Philip, you're a gem. Did you do the notes?
I did not actually. One of our
Oh,
interns did it.
oh, that's why. McShane makes you sound like a cowboy or something. I assume Alex is coming and that Rizwana's coming. Milan's here, great.
Yes.
We just need one more.
Mohammed, I'm going to move you out right now and then bring you back in when you come up on the agenda
Okay.
item.
Excellent. Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks. Okay. Shall we call or text Rizwana? Because I know she would want to be here and that would make a quorum. I don't know about Liz's
Liz
schedule.
Liz will not be here. That's the only person that I've heard from that will not
Oh,
be in
okay.
attendance.
So we really need Alex or Rizwana.
Correct.
Have you heard from them? Either
I've not
one?
heard anything from them, either of them.
2, 3, 5.
I can call or text Rizwana if you will call Alex. Shall we do that so we know going ahead so that, especially Mohammed knows that we won't be doing any voting today? Is that appropriate to do, Philip?
I'm sorry, to call them to ask them to join?
No, to ask if they're planning to join. If they're not, we can just go ahead, but we won't
Right.
be able to take any decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can
Good.
try the call first or something. Because I think Rizwana wanted to be here.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
surprised she's
here's
not here.
Alex right now.
Here's
Okay, we have
Alex.
a
Okay,
quorum.
great. We have a quorum, so I guess we can start. It
Mhm.
is 6:02, and I am now calling the meeting of the Human Rights Commission to order. It is November 18, and we have a quorum. Welcome, everyone. Today we have a somewhat complicated agenda. I'll just ask if there are some announcements first before we start. None? Okay. So I'll just roughly go over the agenda and then we'll move into public comments and so on. We have a fairly tight agenda today. We have 7 different items. 3 of them are substantial. Others are more updates. So let's try to be efficient with our agenda items. They are the minutes, of course, and then the Racial Justice Committee of the League of Women Voters is joining, followed by Mohammed El Ghadi of the Amnesty International. And then we have the Gaza statement to discuss and what we're going to do at our meeting with the town council on the 24th, updates on the video and also the DEI. That's pretty much the agenda. Is there anything anyone wants to add? Okay, in that case, we should go to public comment. During the public comment period, the chair will recognize members of the public. When called on, please identify yourself by stating your full name, preferred pronouns, and residential address. Residents are welcome to express their views for up to 3 minutes at the discretion of the chair based upon the number of people who wish to speak. No speaker can cede their time to another speaker. The HRC will not engage in a dialogue or comment on a matter raised in public comment. And just to add, after that, I will do the roll call since I forgot to do it earlier. Is there any public comment? Okay, then we'll go on to the roll call for today. Looks like everyone's here. Milan Clark,
Here.
Liz Haygood. Liz is not here. Rizwana,
Here.
Silas,
Here.
Ronnie, yes. Jay,
Yes.
Alex.
Here.
Okay. We are now moving to member reports. Are there any reports about what you've been doing?
Yeah, I will actually share my report with Jay and Alex. We had completed our human rights resolution. And so we have handed it over to Philip.
So that will come up as one of our agenda items a little bit later,
Okay.
so we'll discuss it more. I wanted to give an update that I've been going, as you know, to the meetings or briefings of the Office for Refugees and Immigrants. And you may remember many months ago when we started looking into this issue, we were talking about child guardianship because we were worried about the kids who would get left behind. So there was a lot of information about alternatives. And so I will send that, the PowerPoint with that information. There's a thing called a caregiver affidavit, however it's said, a caregiver statement, which allows simultaneous caregiving. So you don't give up a right. It's not like taking on the responsibility of being a guardian. There are many alternatives for kids. So I will send this to Philip, and if you could put it in our resources page, Philip, under planning, I would really encourage you to look at it and be familiar with all the options in case somebody's detained and they ask you a question, and also to know where it is so you can refer people to it. I have to say, I'm really impressed by all the work the state is doing and all the resources it's putting forward. You'll see there also how to get free legal services. So I think a lot of our questions early on are resolved in what's put forward in this presentation. So I wanted to share that with you. That's all I have. Anything else? Okay, well then, the first step is motion to approve. Does anyone have a motion to approve the minutes?
Silas, I noted where your name was wrong, so that will get fixed.
Great. Then
Yeah.
the motion.
Okay, second? Okay, I'll second it. I did want to point out just one more spelling issue, which is Alex's name. Her last name is misspelled. But otherwise, I guess it's okay. We can move forward then. Okay, so the first person on our agenda is Martha Hanner, who is here, who is the head of the Racial Justice Committee of the League of Women Voters. And just for transparency, I have to say that I'm a member of that committee as well. And she's going to talk to us about some of the work of the Racial Justice Committee. So with that, Martha, the floor is yours, so to speak.
Well, thank you. And thank you for inviting me. As I think you all know, our Racial Justice Committee researched and issued a report in October about the CSWG recommendations and how far the town has come in implementing them. And so I think you've all at least seen that or know where it is and so on. So I'm not going to go through it all in any detail. I mean, we definitely have a good DEI department, a 2-member department, of which Philip is here supporting your group. And of course, Pamela Young is then the director. And so they do a lot of good things, limited only then by their lack of more staffing. They've done a lot of creative things. And CRESS has been established, but has some challenges. The Resident Oversight Board is something you've probably been hearing about from Ronnie because she was on the steering group. And so then let's see, they wanted to have a sort of a youth empowerment cultural center. That has not happened. However, there are a number of programs, and I'd like to just advertise one of them. And that is our Racial Justice Committee hosts a Zoom approximately monthly, highlighting some activity that's going on in Amherst. And last Thursday, we had Ray Harp and Becky Demling from the Recreation Department talking about some of the youth programs, specifically the Morning Movement program, which you may be familiar with, that it's hard for me to believe that more than 60 adolescents, 8th grade, plus or minus a little bit, actually enthusiastically come to school at 7 a.m. for 40 minutes of exercises, sports, and then mentoring with Amherst College students, UMass students, volunteers, couple of staff members, a couple members of the Amherst Police Department show up, and it's just a chance for the kids to, start the day well, to get help with their homework or consultation with any problems they have, and just, enjoy each other and the sports and so on. It just seems very positive. And then there's this RISE program on Saturday mornings. That's a more structured program for about 12 youth, together with I think 12 mentors, so that each person has a partner. And it's more of a deep dive into troubling topics of, racial identity or bullying or, one's own personal identity and so on, plus building trust. And again, the Amherst Police participate as well as other volunteers. So that has now been posted on our league website. If you go to our league website, you see at one point a topic called Judy Brooks Topics, and then you click on that and you go and you have them there. And so thanks, Milan, for getting that posted today and edited. It's always a challenge to edit the recording before you can get it up. But you might want to just tune in for something that really seems positive and inspiring, as opposed to some of, what goes on in Amherst. So, one of the big concerns that I've had after doing all this reviewing, talking with people and so on, is just the overall lack of trust in our community, say between the police and many of our BIPOC residents and so on. They just don't understand each other. The viewpoints just seem so polarized. And so we've been talking about it. And one of the ways to change things is through the town manager goals for each year, which are put together by the town council. And in fact, this afternoon, Ronnie and I had a conversation with Anna Devlin Gautier, who's the town council member who's chair of the GOL committee, which has the nice job of putting those together. And so I'd like to just tell you what our Racial Justice Committee sees as some of those key things, and it might be, topics that you might feel are important and would want to push for. But I'm going to see if I can share screen. I'm going to try to put that up. Yes, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So one of the challenges that I'm sure you're aware of is that there has not been good integration of CREST into our police department and dispatch. Dispatch really doesn't refer anything to CREST. There have been 6 calls between January and the end of June in 2025. And the negotiations have rather broken down. And it seems that really it's going to take our town manager to really give that some impetus. to go anywhere. And so the town council is in fact taking that seriously now. And if your commission feels that that's something important, it probably would be helpful if you folks could speak to the town council about it too. Because the police, are just reluctant to change. They don't see that there's any problems and really feel that they are not being fairly criticized, whereas a lot of BIPOC individuals feel that there is, police prejudice or harassment or, judging being guilty until proven innocent and so on, if you read the various reports. And somehow we all together need to find some better way of bridging that gap. And I don't have that great a solution, but it seems to me that that's an important topic for the future consideration this next year. And then Cress, we documented that the calls are increasing, but the problem is that Cress is in the Bangs Center, which closes at 4 p.m., period. And yet, if you look at the police dispatch logs, the most activity is later. And that makes sense. People come home in the afternoon, supper time, crises occur and so on. And so we really would like to see our town manager and town officials help find a way to allow Cress to be available for walk-ins, calls, dispatch calls, and so on after 4 p.m., say 4 to 8 p.m., or on Saturdays and so on. So that we see as important. And then the third thing refers back to the CSWG report and the LEAP reports. I expect that you folks are familiar with the LEAP reports that were published in 2021. One was sort of a roadmap for Cress, and the other was really calling for the Amherst Police Department to have a formal external review, not because the individual police weren't professional, but more of a management type review, sort of top down. What are the policies and procedures? Do they need updating? Why do you still do pretext stops and consent searches and so on? And so we see, again, that is important for establishing trust. And we're going to be submitting a formal memo to the town council in just a few days. It's getting our committee to review it right now. And so you folks can get a copy of it at that time and decide whether any of those topics seem important enough for you folks to work on or talk to your counselors about and so on. And one thing that Councillor Anna Devlin Gautier emphasized to us today is it's very important for people as individuals, as well as on your group together, to talk to your counselors from your district, the ones that represent you, or also any counselors that you think really have a sincere interest in the topic that you're pursuing. Because the council, she says, works best when there are one or a few counselors that really sincerely support a particular topic and are willing to dive in and do a little of the research about it and so on to support it. So that seems like a good tip for both of our groups to follow up. But so I thought maybe the best thing, Ronnie, at this point is just to ask if people have questions or would like to discuss anything. Would that be best?
Yes. Are there any questions? Did you all understand the background first? Do you all know what the CSWG report is? And maybe we don't need to go that far back, but
yeah, I just assumed
okay.
that you
Are
knew
there
it.
questions? Ask whatever questions you have.
Yeah. Mhm.
Thank you for sharing this information and for the work that you're doing. I am curious about that next action steps piece, and it sounded like supporting this on getting it onto our town councilors' agendas and continuing the conversation is one component. Are there could you kind of just reiterate the immediate next steps that the Human Rights Commission might take to support this work?
Yeah, well, let me say first what my understanding of what the next steps are for the town council. They have this committee called GOL, whatever it stands for, Government and something or other. And that's the committee that has two assignments right now. First of all, they're going to meet next Tuesday. That, you can look at the calendar on the town website for their time. I think the meeting starts at 6, and they are going to be reviewing and perhaps finalizing the town manager's goals for next year. And I could look up and send to Ronnie to send to you folks the outline of the town manager's goals from the past year so that you can see what kind of format there are. There's several categories like climate and housing, and then community safety and social justice, which is, I think, what you're interested in and we're interested in. And so that's one thing that they're doing next Tuesday. And then they have been asked to study the ideas and the proposed bylaws for the Resident Oversight Board and send a report back to the council by the end of the year. Well, in these next few weeks, there's certainly not time to do anything really deep, but they need to give recommendations on what should be the process for the council going forward. And as you probably know from Ronnie, who was on the working group that Paul Bockelman had, was that two different ideas for a resident oversight board were being proposed and have been submitted to the council. One being a quote, an oversight board, meaning that they would be able to receive complaints and conduct investigations. And the other would be they just receive complaints, but then the police have to do the investigations. And so it seems to me that's just reflective of this mistrust in the community between the the police and many BIPOC members of our community, because the police just react to the word oversight as being something that's just wrong, that they're not justified. And if we just say, well, advisory, then all the people who feel that there are problems feel that that's just kind of a washout, So maybe part of the challenge is to see if you folks could come up with a different name that would not, trigger those reactions. But it's what we wrote in our report was that some means is needed so that people in the community who feel that they've been subjected to harassment by the police or, something, not, hit over the head with a hammer, but what one might call minor things, but, singled out for scrutiny or something, that they have a safe way to file a complaint with an independent body, and that independent group can then conduct some form of a credible investigation so that all sides then, the police and the others, would agree that, yes, this event happened and here's what happened. And
Thank you.
yeah,
So I just want to remind everyone, we have a really long agenda today, so we'll
that you don't
hear
want to
Rizwana's
talk.
question.
Okay, yeah.
And then we'll have to stop.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Martha, for sharing all of that and your concern for that. Basically, if I conclude as to what my understanding is, that you want the Human Rights Committee to serve as a bridge between Crest and the other communities, the marginalized communities, basically.
That's a possibility for you folks to consider, certainly.
So we are
Let me-
basically bridging. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, anything that you folks can think of that would, maybe some special programs that you could have, or, some ways of getting people to talk or helping to establish trust or at least vent their anxieties or something. I don't know. Or
So,
maybe you
yeah.
should be the board that receives complaints and investigates. I don't know what
Yeah.
it would take
Yeah.
to.
Mm. Okay, yeah. The other follow-up is that if we are going through our committee, human rights, so we'll be framing everything through that, through our bylaws, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Thank you.
Yes, yes. And okay, well,
Uh,
when I can send Ronnie the memo and things for you to distribute. Okay, well, thank you. Thanks for
Thanks,
you.
Martha. Actually, you know, we'll share with you Martha's email or the league's email so that if you have additional questions or if there are initiatives you want to take to support some of the recommendations of the league, then I think it would be good to contact Martha directly.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thanks, Martha. Thanks for coming. You're welcome to stay on. But I
Yeah.
think Philip will remove you as a panelist. Okay, and I see Mohammed is here already. So hello, Mohammed. Our next agenda item is, I let Mohammed tell it, but we have with us Mohammed El Ghadi from Amnesty International. And I will give you the floor, Mohammed. Feel free to introduce yourself more and then tell us what you want to speak to us about.
Mohammed, you're on mute. And then I just have one follow-up question. There is
Sure.
Yes.
Jay in the audience. Is he also presenting with you?
No,
Okay.
is he in?
He's in the audience, so that's all I
Okay,
needed to
he's
know.
in the audience. Yeah,
Mm.
he's just like listening. Yes. Thank you very much, commissioners. It's an honor to be here. I was a member of the Human Rights Commission, I think since the late 90s, and I was member 2 times. I think 2003 and then 2007. Then I went to Philadelphia to work, far away. But I'm so glad, I know that, how this Human Rights Commission is powerful and makes major differences on the local level and also on international level. In 2004 or 5, I believe, I came from the American Friends Committee, the Quaker organization, Philadelphia, to advocate to have different cities to become a sponsor for an advocate for what's going on in Darfur at that time. Unfortunately, still is going on since that time. And Amherst was the second town or city nationwide here to issue a resolution on Darfur at that time. So this is the second time we came, and we hope that you guys, you will do something for us here. Especially this is touching on something personal here for us here is the local chapter of Amnesty. 2 of our members are at large from Sudan, were being persecuted. One is from both sides of the warring factions, the so-called Port Sudan government and the so-called El Fashir government or Niala government. I will talk about this later on, but for now, we are so worried about the fate and the life of these 2 members of our group chapter here in Amherst. Both of them are lawyers and both of them activists against war in Sudan, and were providing us with a lot of information about what's going on, all the arrests over there for the civilians. Unfortunately, one of them, Mr. Abu Bakr, he had to stay in town in Sinjar city to take care of his father. And unfortunately, when the other faction took over the city, they consider anyone who's staying in the city is considered a collaborator with the other side. So they sentenced him to 20 years in prison. Of course, it was something weird, to do that, yeah. So he and his lawyer appealed the sentence, and unfortunately, the new court sentenced him to death by hanging. and he's in the death row now, waiting
Hmm.
for that. It's a horrific situation, never happened, but it's just like this is what usually what happened during war. Like no laws, nothing here from any sides. This is one case. The other case is Mr. Khalid Sadiq. He's a member, and I know him for a long time. He was Amnesty advocated for him few times when he was arrested in the 90s and the early 2000. This time he was arrested by the other faction from his home because he was also staying home and taking care of his family. And yeah, so he disappeared. He's one of the disappeared people on the many thousand people who are disappeared during this war. We know that for a fact that he's been transferred as a detainees to the other side of the country. From Khartoum, he was taken to Niala with all the other prisoners. The good things, both of them are alive. Because of the pressure. Many people are putting a lot of pressure on what's going on in Sudan and specific on these two cases from our side, yes. And we met with our representative, Jim McGovern, and we spoke to him. He promised to take some actions also. And we dealt with State Department, but still like we could not like reach to the right person to put more pressure. But we think and we believe, strongly believe that a resolution coming from you, from this respected commission, will make a difference. When we add that, like Amherst Town issued a resolution in support of the human rights in Sudan and the situation, this will make a difference on them. And it will send a message to those people who are trying to hang this respected peace activist lawyer, Mr. Mansour, and the other, Abu Bakr Mansour, and Mr. Khalid Sadiq. So this is here at the beginning. The situation in Sudan, I already said like some materials. Unfortunately, it's on the news. It's horrific situation. More than 50,000 people already being killed, more than 120,000 being injured. And I'm really worried more about the injured people more than the people who are already dead. Because, you know, like when you are walking with a missing limb or anything, missing eye or anything, this is horrific. People become like, the trauma is too much there. This is one thing. There is 5 million people who took refuge in Egypt, 1 million in Chad, and another like 150,000 between the other three neighboring countries. These are like including many members of my family, including my sister directly. This is one thing, but the hunger, this is a major issue now here because there is no food. The government in Sudan, one of the faction is controlling any kind of a relief things to come because they think any relief has to come through them and then we can distribute it to only the people who are in our areas. So it's become like a kind of a crazy situation. The good thing, the human rights, United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva held a special session 2 days ago and issued like a very strong condemnation to what's going on and will be sending an investigation or to fact-finding committee to El Fasher because El Fasher, this is the major city in Darfur area where like many people were killed there and rape is everywhere and it's horrific situation. It's if you can think about like what happened to Gaza, this is double the situation what was happening in Gaza. In Gaza, it was for a long time. Unfortunately, this is the same people who committed genocide in 2003 when we came to the Human Rights Commission to issue that resolution in Darfur are the same people who are committing the same kind of genocide in other parts of the Sudan.
Can I ask if everyone has had a chance to see the proposed resolution? Should we put it up on the screen or have you all seen it?
Yeah, we can put it up again, but I have seen it. Yeah, it was a very good one. The way you put it on one single page.
Yeah.
So my understanding, Mohammed, is that you're asking us to approve and to express our support for this resolution that you drafted for us.
Yes.
So I do think that if we're going to consider it, we need to be able to see it. First, someone needs to move to consider it. Consider approval, Jay, and I'll second it. So let's look at it and talk about what's in there.
Sure.
I'm pulling it up right now. Just
Is,
give me 1
is
second.
that, are we okay process-wise, Philip? I want you to interrupt me if I
Nope, that's a correct
want to.
process.
Okay. So, the preamble, is everyone in agreement with that? I'm gonna take it bit by bit because we need to. Are there any questions about the preamble? The only thing I would say is that it might be helpful to see that the HRC has condemned what is going on and put a date on it to make it current. I'm not sure what the language is. It says urgent findings of the HRC documented. Okay. I think a date and a reference when you start with the preamble makes it more solid. Otherwise, just talking about the preamble, does anyone want to move to accept that? I'm gonna go in parts.
I move to accept it.
Second,
Second,
okay. Okay, let's go to the findings and the condemnation. What is it that we're opposing? Is what this section is. Any discussion?
Basically, I think we are condemning the disappearance.
well, it's not just the disappearance. I mean, it is also about the mass killings and then
Yes.
targeting particular groups from certain ethnic groups. You know, we're talking about violence against women and boys and girls, in sexual attacks. I mean, this
It's a
is
lot.
just a
So,
lot of, yes.
Yeah, basically it is there, but we need to be very focused on these specific people that we are putting up. I don't know, this is what I feel, that it's a local resolution, and these lawyers are from here, you say. So we are trying to get we are supporting Amnesty International's call for immediate investigation, and then we are urging US State Department involvement and calls on
Okay,
Sudanese
can we
authorities.
go to
Yeah.
actions later? Because
Oh.
that's all in the next section. If we can just, are
Oh.
we agreed with the way the findings are? This is just a condemnation. This is just saying that we oppose, all this violence that's being targeted at many groups. And
Yes.
we specifically say we oppose and are concerned about these two individuals.
Yes.
So if everyone is okay with it, let's move to accept it. A
Yeah.
motion?
I motion it.
Okay, second?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, I think because it's the UN Human Rights Council and it's parentheses HRC, it's a little confusing because we're also the HRC.
HRC.
And so I wonder if
But
in
UN
subsequent uses it is referred to as by recent UN HRC reports for
Mhm,
clarity's sake.
mhm.
Yes, I mean,
Mhm.
typically that is called UNHRC.
Yeah,
We can put UN there in parentheses and then where it says in the recent UN. Is that good? What I'm doing on the screen? So I just
Mhm.
added in
UNHRC
UN
is
there
correct. Yeah,
and UN there. And this is you all. So that's
this
good.
is us. It's written out. We don't need to say HRC.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. I'm moving to accept the section called findings and condemnation.
So I do have one
Give it
question
a
as
second.
well. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I have a question.
We're supposed to move before you discuss, but that's fine. Go ahead and ask your question.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Go ahead and ask your question. That's fine.
Yeah, well, just on the findings and condemnation section, like, is this directly from that human rights, like a report, just because, or because the findings, I'm just kind of curious because, it just seems like it leaves out the, the supporters or the backers of these groups, and it seems kind of like these actions are being taken, just kind of separately or on their own. But what we looked at was that they have support. So if we condemn, it's kind of like condemning the actions of the puppets while ignoring the puppeteers. And if we are going to be able to use any kind of force as a body, I think there should be effort made to go after and to address the ones that are supporting this conflict, either financially or militarily.
I think is the
May I
Rapid
add?
Support Forces. Do you want to explain more, Mohammed?
Yes, it's actually like when we discuss it here in our local chapter, we phrase it this way so we can avoid like putting any kind of a question on one side. Yeah, the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, and the other one, which claiming that they are representing the government, which actually like they were one side. They committed or staged a military coup in October 2021, and it started all this kind of mass killing. In 2023, they started like conflict between each other and starting warring against each other. Started the civil or not civil war, the war. So we tried like to avoid here who are behind. Yes, there is number of countries. Qatar, like the major two countries now is Egypt and United Arab Emirates. United Arab Emirates is supporting and financing the Rapid Support Forces. Egypt is supporting the other side. And it's very like sensitive situation if we condemn one part, like which everyone now thinks is easy, we can just condemn United Arab Emirates and avoiding that. But I feel like we'll be like not addressing the whole kind of two perpetrators here. The reason people avoid to condemn Egypt because there is 5 million people, refugees are in Egypt, and this will affect. So we made this kind of in general, like condemn all the killing and people who are behind the killing. Yeah, for a reason, yeah.
Okay.
And
So it sounds like what you've decided to do, rather than focus on the perpetrators, is to focus on the impact. Because I think multiple parties were involved. If I remember from Darfur years ago when we were talking about it, multiple parties were involved and they all committed
correct.
supposedly war crimes, but definitely serious human rights violations.
Yeah.
So if we did list who it was, we'd have to do a long list, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Rizwana.
Okay, I suggest that if we just say that because we as a commission cannot verify independently, so just say as a solution as reported by United Nations Human Rights Council or according to Amnesty International. So it is so we avoid implying Amherst HRC has any first-hand verification.
I think it's
Yeah,
quite
that's why
clear.
I thought, sorry, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think it's quite clear. You know, when you see that, preamble, what is it saying?
Yeah, it's the
It says
preamble.
UN, HRC, and then at the end
Yeah.
it says by all parties. So there's
Right.
nothing to really argue there.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
I think that's why I focused on the preamble. I think it strengthens it to say something specific about the HRC, UNHRC, that is. If they just decided to condemn what's going on there, it would be good to put that date on there just to make it solid, so it's not a general statement. That's all. And I think that would address your concern, Rizwana, too.
Yeah. And then,
So
yeah.
let's go to the actions. Let's
Okay.
then
Yeah,
do
there's
one vote.
before doing that, there's another important thing also, Mohammed. The issue is that you're naming specific individuals, and that is legally quite sensitive. So the solution might be the fact that they're two Sudanese human rights defenders or something like that. affiliated with Amnesty International, because we need to be very sensitive to the legal implications.
It says
But
known
this-
members of the local chapter of Amnesty
Yeah.
International who've been targeted for arbitrary detention
Yeah,
and
the
denied
issue
their
here-
fundamental rights. Is
If
there
I may-
something else you would like to see, Rizwana?
if I
No,
may
I
add-
think, yeah, this is good enough. Yeah, I somehow missed it. Yeah. And you said genocide also. So so we have to also say that credible reports indicating possible atrocity and crimes, including crimes against humanity, instead of genocide. Because it is, we have United Nations bodies, international courts, and federal, they are the ones who decide. Have they said it is genocide?
Well, I mean, if the,
Because-
HRC, already said that, right? That's in the UN report. And so now what you're saying, these are the findings from the UN report. It's there.
Mm.
So if it's there already, what's there
Yeah.
to argue about?
Oh, they have said it. Mm.
I wonder
Yeah.
if we could say findings and condemnation from, even though we've said it before, from the UNHRC.
Yeah.
Well, it does
If
say
I-
potential starting out, potential war crimes, potential crimes against humanity. So it's not really committing to that it is guaranteed, but that
Oh,
those
yeah.
actions, yeah.
Good catch, yeah.
Yeah.
Do I erase that
It should
then?
be,
Yeah. Yeah.
it should,
Yeah.
it should be credible reports.
Correct.
Well,
I do agree.
I-
I do
ahead.
agree with Radwana's comments here. I believe like we should leave this because there is a fact-finding committee sent by the United Nations now, and they will decide if this is a genocide or not. Most of the other organizations, they call it, but like we should not. I agree with you. A genocide is a heavy word. We should wait until like the
True.
fact-finding committee. Thank you.
Yeah, the
Well-
other solution is credible reports indicating possible atrocity crimes, including crimes against humanity. So we can do something like that.
How would you feel about putting a period at the end of crimes against humanity? Then you're not mentioning the rapid support forces. Because they're one half of the old government, right?
Okay.
One of them is but we don't mention the other half of it. I don't know. I'm asking you what you think, Mohammed.
No, I totally agree. I just
Okay.
want has like the Human Rights Commission to become very clear, very neutral here, like condemning both sides until like not only one side. Yes.
Mhm.
True.
So we're gonna get rid of the highlighted section and put a period after
Yes.
humanity?
Right,
Okay.
right.
I agree.
Okay. Then there's the specific concern.
The specific concern regarding the two members.
Yes,
Yeah,
Hmm,
this is
that's
very
fine
important.
to me. I don't know.
Yeah, this is very important, Rizwana, because these are two members of us here.
Yeah.
There is thousand and thousand over like 100,000 people who are impacted now, some in prison, some, but these are related to our chapter here.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes it more closer to us and it's more
Yes.
closer to our home.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if there's a local story,
Yeah, this is a
attached
local
to
story.
that, then it makes sense.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely.
So with regard to the actions, I'm assuming this is okay now. Are there any other questions about this? All right, let's go to the actions.
Okay.
One is directed to all parties in Sudan.
Hmm.
To
I'm
ensure due
confused.
process, to ensure due process and humane treatment for all detainees.
So I guess the commission cannot urge all parties in Sudan directly. So I would suggest that commission calls upon the international community and relevant authorities to urge all parties. So through us, we create a chain ripple effects. So we call upon international community and relevant authorities to urge all. So they will urge other parties
Well,
in Sudan. I don't know.
true, but we also have our own voice. And we need to speak out for ourselves too. So if we want, any kinds of, disturbances, atrocities, killings, maiming to end, then we as HRC of Amherst should say so.
But yeah, we are saying it, but we are putting pressure on the communities that will make some kind of a dent or some kind of an impact, because as by ourselves, we don't have any bandwidth. So we are calling upon the international community and the relevant authorities. Might be we go to the, the government or the senator or some sort.
Well, I mean, that could be one approach, but I've, personally worked on things like this, and there, in the case of my student who was sentenced to 18 years in jail and I fought for his release, we had to use his name, but there were other folks from Tibet who were also in jail. Doesn't mean that you have to, that you can't use his name, but you use him as a port of entry to address all of the other issues as well. There were nuns also detained, also, tortured and killed, and we had to speak up for those kinds of things. And so it was a long road, to get him released, but we did. But I did that through a school. And then through the school, we worked through all kinds of other organizations like Students for a Free Tibet. And then there was the international campaign around it. But it started small. And so don't be scared about the small voice of a town. It all adds up around the world. I mean, that's what I discovered personally.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You were also just a small speck there, but you created the ripples that the school took over, and then they pressured other entities. That's how there's a pyramid thing going on.
Right. And then.
So exactly, that's what I meant.
Right. I mean, and then we took it up to Congress and they took it up.
Yeah, it's the same process. Yeah. Okay.
So it sounds like it's actually in the third bullet where it said reaffirming the importance of international mechanisms to prevent further atrocities, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
Right. So it does reference other international mechanisms.
Yes.
The only one really that I have an issue with calls upon the US government. The US government has never been involved in resolving, maybe never isn't a good word, but isn't a big player in resolving human rights complaints. And I think that the third bullet is more important.
Well, it's not.
And I don't see diplomatic pressure and whatnot. And I think it would just draw the attention of the US government where we don't want it to be drawn.
Well, I mean, maybe there's, I guess I'm trying to avoid the politics of the moment here, but I'm just trying to say that, in my particular case, when I worked for the freedom of one particular student, we had to go straight to the president, and we did it at that time. We worked with Congress, and we passed, a resolution by the Senate calling for my students' unconditional release. That was in 1996, I believe. So that happened, and there's precedent for that. And then they, eventually got him released because there was so much pressure. In fact, Colin Powell flew there and got him out. So there is, precedent.
Yeah. So in a way,
that kind of thing.
Mohammed, you have
Yes.
your hand up.
Yes, if I may add, the United States current administration is the major player now in ceasefire in Sudan. And there is something called the Quartet, like 4 countries, including United States, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. These are the 4 countries. They brought the 4 countries together to push for a ceasefire. And successfully now they issued, like they made the 2 parties, well, at least the RSF agreed 100%. The other party, SAF, the government, is not like fully in this here, but they agreed on a ceasefire for 3 months, and this without the United States. Like, I don't think we will be able like to do it. Yeah. And thanks God, I think this is one of the major things for our current president, Donald Trump. He was trying like to become like the face of peace in Africa. So he pushed hard for this. And if successful, hopefully like it will be successful, it will be a good thing. So when we inserted
Okay.
this specific here language, so they encourage him. And the State Department played major role here.
Okay. Thank you. I didn't know that. Others? I can't see everyone at the same time because of the share space, so you might have to just say your voice because I can't see all the hands. Okay, any other questions or comments or reflections before we take a vote?
I have
Silas.
a small editing or comment for
Mhm.
sorry for the previous findings and condemnations.
Mhm.
I'm wondering if in the third bullet we could start simply with voices grave concern regarding the safety and well-being.
Mhm.
I feel like as though if we're releasing this resolution, it should be clear that it's the Human Rights Commission that is doing it if they're reading the document. And so that would be my suggestion. And then to add known members of the local Amherst chapter of Amnesty International,
Right,
for clarity
yeah.
pieces. That would be my suggestion. But otherwise, I
Yeah.
have no other comments.
I
I
would agree
totally
with that.
I totally agree with Silas because it has to be framed within our bylaws and show that we are doing something. And adding to that, there is this thing about instruct or pressure the US government. There's these words there. So we should have a solution in saying that Commission encourages the US government to continue diplomatic instead of saying instruct or pressure.
Can we fix the one that Silas talked about first and then
Mhm.
we'll go to the
Mhm.
next part?
I
So
think
it
I did,
starts with
Silas.
voices, starts with voices.
Starts with
So it's
voices.
yeah, so it follows the same language pattern as the two bullets above.
And
So the first sentence, first word of that bullet is voices. And then, yeah,
and if
and
we
then you
wish to
remove-
keep the specific, you could change from grave concern to specific concern if that detail is important.
voices, specific concern, and then, yeah, we got Amherst in there.
Okay, is that everything?
I see no members of that.
Sorry,
No,
I think removing
ahead.
the Amherst Human Rights Commission would be my
Out.
suggested edit.
Yeah, take it out. Known members of the local Amherst chapter of Amnesty International. That's great. Yeah. Because we know this is coming from the Amherst Human Rights Commission right from at the top. So we don't need to say that there.
I think that, sorry, this is particular. I would suggest also just deleting grave concern. I think voices specific concern captures the meaning. And I think if you could actually remove that colon or whatever that is for consistency with the rest of the bullets. Thank you.
Raise your hand once you feel you've looked at it and you're ready to vote.
We close the door.
Go ahead, Silas.
Sorry, one other thing. I might start with if it's going small, if we're thinking about the scale of impact for actions, I might consider moving encourages local advocacy to the second point, which I think is arguably more tangible for our commission in terms of priority, and then moving the calls upon as the last piece, since that's the biggest ask,
The broader.
would be my suggestion.
Makes sense.
Agreed.
I think Silas was going for like little, middle, large.
It is.
All right.
Thank you.
I like it because you start where you can actually,
Mhm.
something that you can grab a hold of in your mind, and then you let your mind expand. And I think that's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I mean, it starts off with two individuals, and then you say, what can the local folks do? And then what does the country and the international community do? So it's that
Yeah.
order.
Okay. So I move to accept the proposed resolution with two changes. We remove the word draft and we add something very precise in the preamble, like a date or we have to reference something rather very concrete. When we say documented, widespread, and systematic, we have to add something there. Where does that come from? We say Human Rights Council, but if they've just met and condemned, then we should reference that meeting. And that's it. Alex?
Yeah, just a clarifying question. Under actions, it says called for. Do we mean calls for, or is the past tense okay?
I think we can just take out called for altogether and just have the actions because each bullet is independent. It speaks correctly, right?
And each starts with the verb anyway, so
Yeah,
calls
yeah.
at the bottom.
Yeah.
What bullet are we
Okay.
looking at? I'm sorry.
Where it says under actions, where it says called for, we delete called for. Because the actions speak for themselves in those bullets. Okay, anything else? Alex, you have your hand up still.
Oh, sorry. Could we add a colon after actions so that it matches the findings and condemnation?
Yeah, okay.
I think stylistically, I mean, it's possible, to put in a footnote,
Yeah.
when, like from a preamble or something, where the source came from. And just put
Yes.
the source, from, I guess what's the UNHRC? Look at which paper, which finding, whatever date, they just footnote
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Or a couple of documents. Yeah, I think it really does need to have something concrete. Is that okay, Mohammed? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm
A
okay.
footnote, I think a footnote is a good way to go with that part.
I can send you. It's the website of the United Nations Human Rights Council.
Yeah,
The
that's
meeting
fine.
was on the
Yeah.
14th. 3
Just
days
cite the
ago.
meeting.
Yeah.
So we have something concrete. Okay, we're having trouble finishing with this. Any more questions? I don't see any hands. Okay, so I'm going to say that I am moving to accept the proposed resolution from the Amnesty International. I'm moving for us to accept the proposed resolution with the one change of adding the footnote. Is there a second? Silas, thank you. So I'm going to call out, if you're in agreement with this motion, raise your hand when I call your name or say yes or whatever. So Milan Clark,
Yes.
Rizwana,
Yes.
Silas,
Yes.
Ronnie, yes. Jay,
Yes.
Alex,
Yes.
Okay, so the vote is unanimous among those of us who are here. Thank you very much. I think the motion has passed, Mohammed. Thank you for coming and speaking with us. Thanks everyone for the time and discussion.
Mohammed, if you send me
Maybe
the
Philip,
oh, sorry, Ronnie or
Oh.
Mohammed, if you send me the website to put in the footnote, I'll get that done and then I'll send that over to you. And also
Okay,
to you,
I
Ronnie,
will.
and Alex on the email.
Thank you very much. Thank you
thank
very
you,
much
Philip,
again.
and
I
thank
really
you,
appreciate.
Mohammed.
I'm quite sure like this will be very helpful to, especially the wife and children of Mr.
Mhm.
Sadiq. Yeah, I'll let them know tomorrow when I call them. Thank you.
Thank you for your time too, Mohammed.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I leave
So
now.
so Philip, my question to you was just what are the next steps to make
Yep.
it happen? And you'll work it out, right?
Yeah, I can work
Okay.
it out and then I'll make sure to CC you on the emails that I'm sending out.
Okay. The next agenda item we have here is the Gaza statement. And before we go into discussion, I would like to say that it needs to be rewritten to follow the protocol or the way that we do them. And all the references to the town council have to be taken out, and the town of Amherst have to be taken out, and so on. So it sounds like you all didn't have time at the end to really address those issues that Philip and somebody else raised. So I'm gonna ask that either the three of you, or I'm actually gonna ask for another volunteer, because I'm not sure about what Alex's time is like. So is there somebody else who would like to work on it? Alex, is that okay with you?
Yeah.
So that you, just as we did with this one, so that the three of you can go over each phrase, each detail in detail, make sure you're on the same page, and then you can bring it to the commission and we can pass it quickly, because I don't think anybody objects to the principles of what's being said, but it needs to go in the format that we need for the HRC. And also, I think Philip can help, because I don't know how much you all know, but before Philip was in this position, he was actually a co-chair of the Human Rights Commission. So he knows exactly what to do. Yes?
Yeah, I think
So
adding in somebody, like, let's say Milan, could
what
be.
do you say, Milan?
Yeah,
For what?
To work on the Gaza resolution.
yeah, join us.
It's just going to need a bit of time. Like, you have to sit together and really put some time into it, because it's a
Okay.
format issue. It's not a.
It's not a what? What content one?
I mean, I think the idea is there of what we want to say. It's just that it needs to be put in a form that is consistent with how we do resolutions, and also then it needs to be reviewed in depth, like all three of you sitting together and just going over all of it. Is this exactly what we want to say, like we did before? Because resolutions are, they're assessed and looked at in many ways. And I think that it's important that we're very careful with the wording of the resolutions. So then you can bring it to the Human Rights Commission, and, we won't be wordsmithing. We'll just go to it and we'll say yes or no. Anyway, since you're sort of an editor too, what do you think?
Sure.
Okay. So just talk to each other, talk together online or whatever. And I see that, I'm not gonna downplay the work that's done. I see that it's really important. It's just that I don't think it's ready for a vote yet, but it will be next time. Any questions or comments before we go to the next item? Especially Jay and Rizwana, since you guys worked on this other part.
Well, I mean, content-wise, I think that it carries the basic sentiment of what we all say or think. It's just the audience and whose voice is used in that. We cannot speak for the town council. We were not voted in. So I guess stylistically, we need to speak more locally for the HRC, invoke that. And then there's a way of, I think, actually saying that. There was one template, I think, that Philip sent around of some prior, resolutions. And
Mhm.
if we could just follow that format, I think we'll be fine.
Okay, good. All right, so then any more comments? Okay. I know we're really good on time, but today we may have to go over a little bit. I'm just warning everyone. So the next agenda item is the town council meeting on the 24th. So we've been invited to come to the town council on the 24th and discuss the human rights report. And I had suggested that when we're doing that is when we should also ask about our bylaw so that we don't have two separate meetings. So my thought is that, I have sort of an outline of what we will present to the town council, building on our report. And what I would like to do, if you can all be there, is to give each person a little piece of what I consider the talk to speak. It's very risky because we have a hard time, all human beings have a hard time being very concise when the amount of time given is very small. But, we want to have time for the town councilors to ask questions. And we want them to have a positive feel toward us. And I think they're used to getting these long things that they feel like they have to listen to, but they're not really listening and so on. So I don't want to get into that. I want us to do a really polished presentation so that we don't lose their attention. And so I'll start talking, and then I will just, I can talk to you separately about the parts, but I'm thinking exactly of what you would do. Like, if I can just have a moment to find my notes, I can tell you what I'm proposing. And if you're not okay with it, then we can talk offline about what to do, okay? So I'm proposing that I will pretty much start it. And I'm proposing that Rizwana speak about the webinar, particularly that a script was developed. It started with a former chair, and then Milan follow with talking about the actual making of the video. So you guys have to we're talking 1 minute here. Sorry. I wanted Silas to talk about the Youth Hero Awards and sort of that whole piece about how Silas, I hope you're listening, about how we shifted to the global village. But again, you don't need to they've heard about the global village already, so you just need to use the words and the Youth Hero Awards. And also mention the municipal affordable housing trust part, because I think that's important. It shows that we're communicating with other boards. If you are, I'm assuming you're all going to be there. And I thought that Jay could talk about the community engagement piece, which I know Silas also did, so you can talk to each other. But Jay went out to the universities and gave out, we did the red card distribution, but the main point to emphasize being that we really, we've been reaching out to the community. We've been telling people about, we're telling you about who the Human Rights Commission is. Many people hadn't heard, and we've started to build some relationships, and, eventually we'll go back to them with our video. And I don't know what, you have to figure out the stuff yourself. And then I will conclude with the challenges. And there's one, I know your piece looks sort of small, but we can talk about how to make it, pull out more from the Human Rights Commission. But I don't think any of us should really be speaking for more than 2 or 3 minutes. Because when you have 1, 2, 3, 4 people speaking, 15 to 20 minutes is the maximum. And there's a bigger piece. Oh, and the bylaws. If Liz is there, she'll speak about it. If she's not there, I'll address it, because she and I were in the meetings with the lawyers. Is that sort of okay? But I'll send you an email explaining things a little bit more, explaining how I'm structuring it, and then you can figure out what you're going to say, and you can check with each other and with me. Yeah? So, Jay?
should we be, posing the question about, I don't know, an advisory capacity for the HRC in the town council?
Mhm. It's the two challenges. One of them is the bylaws and the other one is that they really haven't asked our advice on anything. And I think in the bylaws or somewhere, I was told that a town council person has to be represented on the Human Rights Commission, but then they said, no, there's no rule to do that. And Lynn said she would ask the town councilors who has time to be on the council, and nobody volunteered is what I heard. But we have a new council next year. So one of the ways to get to them is to have somebody go back to them. And it's your question, and Alex, yeah. And we can also do that proactively. There's nothing stopping us from talking to our councilors or talking to whoever's the president of the council next year. I know that Lynn is quite supportive of the human rights. They all are. In part because we don't, we are very concise, I think, and friendly in how we talk to them. And that's just a principle of good community engagement. So Alex, then Silas.
Yeah, just a quick question. Do we know what time the town council meeting is yet, or do we only find out that later?
They will give us a more precise time, but I had asked that we be early in their agenda and not later. And I think they said that's why they moved us from yesterday to the 24th. So I'm guessing it'll be closer to the 7 o'clock right after the end of, but I don't know.
Right.
Philip, they will tell Philip and he'll tell us.
Yep, their meeting starts at 6:30, but yes, once an agenda becomes available, and I'm sad to say that sometimes that doesn't happen until the morning of or afternoon of, depending on what they're kind of fitting on the schedule, then I can give a more accurate time. I hope to hear something before Friday, but it would not be unusual if I'm sending out an email to you all Monday morning saying this is the time that I was given, and then it change again. So I think the idea is, 6:30 is when their meeting starts, and Lynn did say that you all are first on the agenda.
Silas?
Just to quickly clarify, you mentioned the Youth Hero Awards and the Affordable Housing Trusts. Was there something else there?
Yeah, the Global Village, as it was our effort to bring people together, many cultures to bring together, rather than do a series of little events.
I see.
I mentioned that because you worked on the Global Village, right? You were, I think, our one
Yes.
volunteer who really gave time to that more than any of us did.
I don't know about that. I think
Did you
certainly
forget?
we
But
did.
anyway, you were very, I think you should talk about it because you actually helped with the planning.
I think, thank you, and I think Philip and Pamela were the ones.
Well, of course, Philip
driving
and
that.
Pamela, but I mean on
Certainly.
the commission, this is a report of us.
Absolutely.
We all showed up, but you put in many more hours, so I think you should talk about that as another part of community engagement.
Right. And so this is in service of them approving our bylaws and having
No,
more of a-
no.
no.
Apart from the bylaws, every year we have a meeting with them after we've put out our report and we discuss the report. So this is the discussion part of the report. That's really the purpose of the meeting. So we won't mention the bylaws till the end.
Silas,
I
this is
see.
different than a public comment. There, the counselors will engage with you all
Yeah,
because it's an actual presentation.
yeah.
I see.
So I will go in person and I want you guys to come in person and I want to ask for everybody who's speaking to be seated in front at the main table facing the counselors. Alex, I'm assuming you won't be there.
No, I think I can be there. I think that's fine.
Oh, you can. Would you speak?
Yeah, if there's a part that I can have.
Okay, so I structured all this because I thought you couldn't speak at the council, but if you can, maybe I should just I'll redo all this and email you guys. Is that okay? I'll send it to Philip and just assign you sections. And so all 5 of us will sit in, 6 of us. And maybe, is that too much? Can we accommodate 7 people, assuming Liz is coming too?
I mean, CSSJC just sat there, so that was probably 6 or 7 of them. I don't think Liz is coming to that. I believe with the change in schedule, she has a conflict.
I would need a
Mhm.
Zoom link because I'll be out of town.
Oh, so you won't be physically sitting there, but the
No.
physically sitting would be 2, 4, 5 of us. I think that's manageable. It's a long table. So if we're all speaking, also just keep in mind, don't go over. Do not say, write out, practice, time it beforehand. Okay? I really mean that because it will look bad for the whole commission if we go on and on. So we'll all be careful. And I'll do that for myself too. Okay, are there any other question about this? I think we need to rush and do this because it's on Monday.
So the total speaking time is how much? And I have a suggestion. I wonder, sorry, I just want to make so it's 2 minutes, and then I wonder if it'd be helpful if you all would be willing to participate in this, but I could just keep time on my phone and then
Oh,
put
yeah.
up like a card when it's like past time, so that way you can just kind of wrap up whatever you're saying, so we stay on point if folks are okay with that. Okay, that seems. I'm getting head nods, so I'm gonna say yes.
So I think in the beginning, and I'm not counting this in the 2 minutes, it would be good to go around and introduce ourselves because they will ask us that. So be prepared to say something concise. We don't need your whole life story, but it would be good to say something about what interests or inspires you about being on the Human Rights Commission or about the work of human rights or something like that. Okay,
Is this on the Monday or the Tuesday?
Monday.
Monday. The 24th, Monday.
Mhm.
Boy, I was losing count of the day. If it is a Monday, I might be there physically, so I'll have to squeeze in next to somebody.
Okay. We'll just squeeze in then.
Just
And
squeeze in.
move the phone around. Any other questions? Okay, next agenda item. Wow, Lee. HRC video update. I think it's Jay and Milan. Milan, is it edited?
It is.
Yay!
It's,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's pretty much complete. It just needs the music at this point, and it's got all the scenes together and all the visuals. Yeah, I guess Jay, do you have the overall image of or idea of what it's supposed to look like? Because then we can go over and you can.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that I would need to find a time for the 3 of us, to go through the stuff. But I could slave through that a bit first, like
Who's the third person?
Dave.
Dave, the
Dave.
guy at Amherst?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Dave there, right? I mean, he's the key person. And then we've got Milan, who, did a lot of the editing, of course. And now we need, non-copyright sounds, to fill things out. So, yeah. And we have Human Rights Day on the 10th. So that's the ballpark time that we're aiming for. And, Dave is also quite aware of that time. And we're in contact with each other. So I will find a time to slide into his space and work with him on that. And then meet with Milan and Dave as well to also finesse that. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay.
So actually, it would be good to tell them that we're aiming to have the video ready to go on Human Rights Day, December 10.
Yeah.
It's been in there, or it's been mentioned somewhere.
No, I mean in the talk. When you talk to the
sure.
town council, it'll be helpful to let them know that.
Well, I think that is something, I guess Rizwan or even Milan could talk about that as well, since he's in the studio.
Mhm. I'm probably going to ask the two of you, Rizwana and Milan, to figure out what each of you is going to say. But for Rizwana, the whole business of writing the text, working with the commission to get it finalized, all that stuff. And Milan focusing more on editing and bringing it to form to show. Okay. Anything else on that? I am so excited because that is something we did as a group. I mean, it's not like we gave it to one person. And I'm going to make this point that, you know, we're a commission that works. We go out, we talk to people, we do work, you know, because we are committed to what we're doing. It's not just a thing, so that's great. And Alex, it's great that you'll be there too, because I don't think you've met the town council yet. All right, then shall we move to the next topic? DEI update.
Yep. Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. I'll try and make it brief because I know we're all getting a little tired. The DI department has started it has continued training for staff and department trainings. So this month we are talking about recruitment through an equity lens, and next month we'll be training the departments of the Joan Library and Amherst Police Department, the patrol people there. So we'll get those in before the end of the year. The department has hosted a successful youth empowerment program. The event was on college preparedness. We had 17 youth in the audience and engaged, and just want to give a special thanks to Amherst or UMass Admissions and Amherst College Financial Aid for helping out with their expertise in that. I think the youth were really great and kind of gave us some good ideas for future programming, so that was really good. The department helped with you all and many other organizations, the Peace Development Fund, the University, the UU, League of Women Voters, the Amherst Jewish Activists for Immigration Justice, and Luce, ACLU, and the Pioneer Valley Worker Center for the training that happened on the 29th. I'm sorry, my son is being loud in the background, so that was
It's okay.
distracting. But that training was well attended. We had over 125 people attend. Really great show out. I think the community, I've already had at least 5 people ask me when the next one is happening, and some few people
Yeah.
asking that they missed this one that occurred and if another one could happen. So I mean, there's a lot of good energy for that. So I mean, that was really great for our community that you all helped out with. The department hosted our first Becoming Beloved community conversation for this year. It was on civics, civility, and citizenship. This month we are going to be having one from the Quabbin Mediation Group on training active bystanders. You will need to register for that, which spots are limited. It is a paid training that our department is taking on, so it's 20 to 25 people that we can bring in. Right now, I saw that there was, I believe, 13 people, so it leaves about a little over 7 people to participate. Ronnie?
I couldn't find where to register. I got your message that said you must register, but there was no link.
Okay, I could send it over to you.
Could it send it to all of us?
Yeah, no problem. And then looking ahead, we invite you to join us for your all's, well, okay, well, this was for someone else, clearly. We invite you to join us on Human Rights Day for celebration. We're planning still occurring. I have a meeting tomorrow with Ronnie Muhammad, who you all heard from for Amnesty International, and then Irene from the middle school in terms of kind of how that is going to get all planned out and participated. I think if the goal is to have the video done by then, it would be great to show it at that event also. But Ronnie, you and I can talk about kind of the structure of the day there. Save the date, National Day of Racial Healing is coming up. That is the day after Martin Luther King Day. That is July 20th of next month or of January. Sorry.
January.
And it's a big thing. It's kind of what prompted our Becoming Beloved community conversations with everybody. And so it's just as a way to have, you know, conversations with your neighbors around racial healing. And I believe that is it from me.
What? It's 7:29.
I told you I try to be brief,
Thank
even
you.
though I was stumbling.
No kidding. No kidding. So is there anyone in the public for comment? Do you all have any questions or comments before we close? Anything else that needs to be talked about? Okay, awesome. So our next meeting date, I don't know who wants to meet on December 17th. I know I won't be around. Should we skip December? Should we do December? It's up to you. I would like to go to January because I think it's too close, December 17th, to the holidays. But if you all want to meet, you can. Shall we go to the third Wednesday, Silas?
Oh, I would move it to the third Wednesday in January, or to meet again in January rather than later this December.
Okay. Okay, I second that motion. All in favor, raise your hand.
Yes.
Alex. Okay. So the next meeting is going to be on the third Wednesday in January. Okay, and no other topics. So it is 7:30 p.m. and the meeting is adjourned right on time. Yay.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone. Thanks,
Okay,
everyone.
bye. Good night.
All right. See you Monday at the town council.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.